Peace everybody, welcome to Capital Combat. The name says it all. I'm Hakeem Branch, and today I'm going to recap this past Saturday's Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde fight, which was a really good fight, and if you haven't seen our preview video, go back and watch that. Now, before I get into this, I do think that you're going to love the information that I'm about to give you, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you can get all of our other videos. Also, Rob is going to put out the Vasyl Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell preview, which should be on the channel right now. So, I am going to go into what happened in the actual fight versus what we thought in our preview video, but I also want to talk about some of the talk that has come since that fight regarding Anthony Yarde's trainer, Tunde Ajayi, and some of the, commentary that's gone on with that. So first, let's talk about the fight. Early on, I would say the first 6 rounds, we got a very, very close affair where you could see that the speed of Yarde was definitely bothering Kovalev, but Yarde had no answer for Sergey Kovalev's jab. So we had this pitch back and forth battle of Anthony Yarde landing very crisp, very clean, very judge-friendly power shots versus a steady sledgehammer shotgun jab that Sergey Kovalev was landing. In this fight, his right hand wasn't as much of a factor as it usually is in most of his fights, which is credit to 2 things. One, Yarde being able to take that away with that left hook, and 2, the jab was so effective he just had to stick with it because that was the key punch that led to his victory. So as the rounds wear on, you do see Yarde getting a little bit tired, but he's having a concerted body attack, which is something that we mentioned he needed in the preview video in order to successfully defeat Kovalev. We do know now that it was successful to a point, but he was unable to put the ending punctuation mark on there. There was no period or exclamation point. It was a comma. So in the 8th round, he hurt Kovalev badly. I mean, he looked like he was seconds from being out, but Yarde couldn't finish the deal because he emptied out his gas tank. Also, his trainer did tell him to empty out the gas tank, so he listened. It just wasn't enough to get Kovalev out of there. So Kovalev's trainer, Buddy McGirt, tells him, look, you can't keep getting hit like that. I'm going to stop this fight. Get back to the jab. The first punch that they teach you when you go into a gym. That is key, because Kovalev was able to start using that range and taking advantage of Yarde emptying his gas tank completely and not able to get a second win, and begin to really hammer on some shots. And Kovalev's jab is very different than most guys. Like I said, he already has that shotgun-like jab that you could see Yarde's head snapping back as he landed it. But as Kovalev comes off that right hand, he takes his body, and then when he shoots that jab again, it's almost like a straight left rather than a jab, because he turns his shoulder completely and shifts his body into that jab. So that jab is landing very hard off of that right hand. That's something we mentioned a lot in our previous videos, like when he fought Bernard Hopkins, Andre Ward, and the men that he's fought before them. John Pascal, you name it. We've covered those fights as well. You can go back and watch those videos. Anyway, Yarde's footwork starts to get very sloppy. His stance starts to get very sloppy, and it's allowing Kovalev to start to land that right hand and then follow it up with that straight left jab that is doing a lot of damage and starting to bring him back in the fight. Now, as far as the coaches go, In this one, Buddy McGirt clearly outcoached Tunde Ajayi. And this was a matter of experience for both Kovalev and McGirt to be able to get through this young lion that was seconds away from stamping himself as a world level title holder and just being a guy who's at that world title level. So you have to give them both credit for that, because they came, they prepared as best as they saw fit. It just wasn't enough. So adjustments need to be made. So this is where we talk about the post-fight chatter. A lot of people are saying that Yarde needs a new trainer. And I think we need to pump our brakes on that. In order for the Buddy McGirts, the Freddie Roaches, the Emmanuel Stewarts to become these elite top-notch trainers, they had to take L's. They had to have guys not quite make it. They had to learn from the mistakes they made in order to make other people better. So if Ajayi can learn from the mistakes that they made in this camp and just adjust them quite slightly, we have that difference between a world title contender and a world title holder. So as you can see, they only need a small shift. He was able to hang with Kovalev without doing any sparring. Now, why the entire boxing community feels that's a bad idea, myself included, he's going to need to do that. Even if they just spar lightly or spar a little bit, he's got to spar. Especially if he wants to use that shoulder roll defense. That takes a lot of practice in live combat in order to get that down. He gives that shoulder roll look, but he never actually completes the shoulder roll. So if they can incorporate some sparring in order to get that timing down, I think he'll improve his defense quite a bit. They'll have to do some things to improve his conditioning, and I think they can impart those as well. Now, if it gets to the point where he doesn't make any adjustments and he stays just at that contender level, then maybe in order to get over the hump, then he will need to get a new trainer. But we have to give him time to at least try to make those adjustments, because the things that he did up to this point got him there. So he is capable of training a world-class talent. And this is somebody who he's built a relationship with. I'm talking about Yarde now. Yarde has built a relationship with Ajayi to where they trust each other and they are cohesive enough to produce results, especially after the jump in competition that they took. They went from C minus maybe type competition to A plus in Sergey Kovalev, where those small adjustments were the difference between winning and losing. So let's give them time to actually watch their tape, assess their training methods, and see if they make any changes. If not, then we can start calling for him to get a new trainer and things like that, because we know Yarde has the talent. So I just want to put that out there, because in my personal experience, I've coached for the last like 15 years on the amateur level. I haven't had any pros. Most of the people that are making these comments on YouTube haven't even done that. So who are we to tell someone who has a fighter who has gotten to a world championship match that they aren't cut out to be a good trainer? How silly do we sound? I should say them, because I'm not saying that. I recognize that he is a good enough trainer, and if he can make some adjustments, then I think he is on his way. However, I did hear some of, I listened to the interview that Ajayi had shortly after the fight, which this was immediately after the fight, and he said he didn't need to make adjustments. He just needed, a bit more motivation. And I don't agree with that. But I think once he goes back and watches the tape and then assesses their training methods, I think he's going to have a change of heart. But we got to allow him that point, that chance to do that before we start saying that Yarde needs a new trainer. So, as far as Sergey Kovalev, they're really looking at a fight against Canelo. And in that, Canelo would jump up to the light heavyweight division to face him, which is a good idea for Kovalev because he's going to get a lot of money. And is someone who is a lot smaller, but Canelo is a very, very, very skilled fighter and a fighter that likes to go to the body a lot. And we know that Sergey Kovalev and body shots don't mix. He is not one that takes body shots well, and he fades very quickly when he takes a sustained attack. So this could be his cash out fight, or could he take advantage of the size and take out a big name in Canelo and get a lot of money in a win-win situation? If that's the case, I say he walks away. But we'll see. It's a long way before the cup reaches the lip on that one, so we're going to hold off on that. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to cover those quick things. Thanks for watching. Like I said, I believe that you liked what you heard, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more Rob and I's videos. Hit us up on social media, Capital Combat on all platforms. If you have any comments, hit us up below like we do to the fighters and the coaches. Stay respectful. We don't like that trash talk of guys that have done a lot more than we have and talking like, you know, we are world champion fighters and trainers. We don't do that here. We don't do that here. We pay respects to everybody and we talk about them with that respect, and we ask of you to do the same. So if you're looking for more content like that, you found the right channel. Hit subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, fight on.
This is round one, and you've already lost. They don't seem to see that everything we've done is coming and cost. My fists are on fire. I perform till I perspire. My demons are in a rage. Keep thinking that it's a game. I kick rhyme, hurricane. I told them I don't play. I'm liquid.
Black Street Fighter.